Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are gonna be looking at a scenario where Russia forms an empire. This boy. So let's jump right in. As we know, Russia IRL is at war with Ukraine, and it's not doing as expected, but let's just ignore that. Russia wants to bring back the former glory that they once had. But at the moment, they struggle with that. So they need to get more power somewhere first. They're gonna go after their old friend. They're gonna go after Kazakhstan. Now, Kazakhstan isn't very strong, and Russia easily beats them. Okay. Russia can still do that, I think. Okay, no, Russia is still very strong militarily, but we see Russia advance very fast and very hard. Kazakhstan stands no chance against the Russian army, as the Russian army moves in faster and faster and faster in multiple regions. So Kazakhstan's capital is already under threat. Now, realistically, Kazakhstan probably would surrender over to Russia, but that would be a little bit fast. So Kazakhstan is going to continue fighting on in the hopes that they might regain footage in the war, a foothold in the war. Though that chance is very unlikely, as Russia is very buffed in this scenario. And sure enough, Kazakhstan is faced with a power that is not being very friendly at the moment. So we see Russia now fully capitulating. Oh my, that was a difficult word. Fully capitulating Kazakhstan. And let's look at the peace treaty. And so we see Russia form something like this. They expanded their border with China, and they didn't really want to take all of it. Because taking all of it would have created a lot of issues internally, and they did not want those issues. But Russia wasn't done. They were still very hungry for expansion, and there was one place to go. Georgia. They already have footholds here and such, but I'm gonna ignore those. And the Russians advance, struggling a little bit over the mountains, but not enough. With the sheer willpower of Russia and wanting land back that has been under them for a while, well, that had been under them for a while, caused them enough to capitulate Georgia. And so this is what the new Russia already looks like. It is already looking a lot like its former self, besides the fact that it didn't take all of the Middle Asia, Central Asia, whatever you want to call it. Now, another country was going to very much not willingly join, but they didn't care about that yet. They still had one more country here that they desperately wanted. Yeah. And so they invade Azerbaijan, which, not great. It angered a lot of other countries, but no one cared to intervene, at least. And so they fall rapidly as well. Now, theoretically, they can hold out here, because Russia can reach out without invading them, and that would trigger other countries as well. And so these are the new borders. They took most of it, sure, but they gave parts of it to Armenia. And they gave parts of it to Armenia, including the little enclave that they had over here. So Russia, being Russia, while having conquered a lot of new territory, was still not happy. They still had some land over here to get to. And that's exactly what they were gonna do. They were gonna go after our beloved Estonia. And it was also a swift war because Estonia doesn't have really a big army. Sure, they can defend against Russia a little with the help of NATO. But NATO doesn't exist here because otherwise Russia would be getting probably blown to hell at the moment they started invading Georgia. I mean, that would have triggered the whole world, so. But we see the invasion going by very fast. Maybe not as fast as it would go IRL, but fast enough. We see the invasion, we see them move up towards the capital, whose name I forgot as well. My bad. I'm not great with remembering names of capitals. Should probably work on that. But we see them basically slither around, and Estonia signed peace. I mean, surrendered. Now let's look at the peace treaty. As we can see, Russia gained a lot of territory. They basically took all of Estonia just. Yeah. But that was still not enough for Russia. Russia still wants all of its former land that they once held over here. Or well, most of it. It's not the Russian Empire that's going back or anything, so. But we do see them invade into Latvia. Latvia does not stand much of a chance. While Latvia is a strong country and, well, strong. While it is a good country, it stands no chance against such an long border with Russia. And neither does basically any of these Baltic states. So we see the swift invasion and the capture of Riga. As they hold the river line. Now, despite them holding the river line and be able to hold it, they stood no chance against it as Russia was preparing its navy for a naval invasion. Which, yeah. And they surrendered. So now that we have this Russia, well, it was still not happy with that Russia. See, while they expanded up north, there were still some spaces they wanted to clean out. Especially in Ukraine, because Ukraine is basically a threat to its Black Sea access. So we see Russia prepare its invasion plan. But oh no. It wasn't just going after Ukraine. That would have been too easy. Wouldn't be a fun scenario. We see them go after Belarus. Yes, it's not. Technically, it probably wouldn't last long. And it isn't lasting long. But Ukraine, being also in the war, and quickly losing the territories that they lost IRL. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Let's say that this was a front line. Occupied Crimea. There we go. So this was something looking like the front line IRL, except for the northern campaign. It's more like something like this. But we see them both getting invaded, and that is not great, as Russia, being way more powerful, slowly started pushing in further and further into Ukraine. Luckily for them, Ukraine was strong though. Ukraine was not a weak country. Just in this scenario, Russia is a lot stronger than IRL, so we see Ukraine slowly and slowly fall, especially because of Belarus. As we see the Russians invade via Belarus into Ukraine's north. And we see the capture of Minsk, officially calling for the surrender of Belarus. This wasn't great, as now Belarus was helping them invade Ukraine. And so with that, Ukraine starts to lose as well. Well, I mean, they were already losing, but they start to lose faster. Because now they have to hold this whole border. And Kyiv was captured. And while I'm not gonna do some hoi-4 logic and say that this is the end of Ukraine, as Ukraine keeps fighting on, but Ukraine did likely surrender after a few months of more fighting, leaving about this. So let's look at the peace treaty. And so we see the new Russian Empire. Now, normally you think from, oh, they'll keep going until they own all of Europe, and realistically they probably would. But this world's Russia is a lot more tame. They got a lot of Belarus, they got most of Ukraine. They also got Estonia and Latvia, and they're basically good. Also, I forgot the color in. There we go. So they basically now hold something like this. For them, it was okay. But they still had one more country. They didn't really want to take fully, but they had a problem here. That was, of course, our favorite country of Lithuania. They didn't really hate Lithuania, and they didn't mind its independence, but it's blocked them off from one major stronghold that they owned, Kaliningrad. And so Russia quickly made work of that issue, efficiently occupying and invading them. Realistically, the invasion would probably take a bit longer than this, but we see them take the capital and yeah, Lithuania surrendered. Let's look at the final peace treaty of this video. And so we see the new borders of the Russian Empire. What do you guys think? Do you like the borders? Do you hate them? Let me know in the comments down below. And guys, that's gonna be it for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!